guys, it's Yvonne from Ginger Chick Rehab. I am taking you to Dollar General's with me today. I am on the search for that Santa canvas. So we had stopped at 5 Dollar Generals over the weekend and we did not find him. So now that is my hunt today to see if I can find that awesome Santa canvas that Dollar Generals are carrying. So why don't you come along with me and we'll see what we find in the Dollar Generals. So here's what we are looking for. Nope, this is not one I found. This is what we are hunting for. Now while I'm looking at all the super cute decor pieces, I'll see if I can find any that I can make over for at the end of the video for you all. But oh my gosh, so much cuteness here. Look at these gnomes. And I'm sure these will go so fast. What a great price for these. Now I'll grab a couple of these because I know there's something I can do with these. This flocked garland is absolutely beautiful. So I'll have to keep on this adventure of looking for the Santa canvas because after 12 and 2 days of Dollar Generals, this is what most of them looked like. All their Christmas decor was minimal that was left. So they must have put it out early or they haven't put it out yet. But I'm pretty sure that they probably have it out. Some beautiful decor pieces. So the closest thing I found to Santa was this beautiful blessed church. Oh, I would have loved it even more if it didn't have the bless, but I love it just as much. Okay, so we toured the Dollar Generals. I got some inspirations. Man, people are shopping for Christmas way early. So nope, I didn't find Santa Claus, but that's okay. I guess he wasn't meant to be. I'll take my blessed church and come home. So in today's video, yep, we toured the Dollar General, so now I'm going to show you the items that I'm going to make over. Not only just Dollar General items, from Dollar Tree and some Target Dollar Spot, and I am super excited to do this Christmas edition for you. So it seems like every Dollar General that I went into would have at least one of these brush bottle trees. Oh my goodness, absolutely beautiful. A weird little plastic base, but for $3 I didn't care about the base because I have these recycled pieces of wood that I'm going to have Chris cut down, and oh, we're going to make these just, they will no longer look like they came from the Dollar General, that's for sure. And then after he got them all cut down, I'm just taking some of my watered down antiquing wax mixture and I'm just going to be putting it over that fresh cut where it wasn't stained. That'll just tie it in and make it even look. I'm not painting these up. I want them just to look like old pieces of wood. And since those trees have a little bit of that fakey snow on it, I'm not going to try to match up a color with it. I'm just going to let the wood be what the wood is. And yep, I actually bought this one as is. The base was already off of it. No discounts this time. Sometimes they give us a discount, but nope, none whatsoever. So I didn't care because I wanted it to be off the base anyway. Now I just picked out a drill bit the same size as the wire that's on the little tree, just guesstimating where my center point in and I'm just drilling a hole right in it, trying to guesstimate on how deep I need to make the hole. Then just a little bit of hot glue on that stem and just put it right back in that hole and let it set for a couple seconds until it starts to set up. That way you can make sure that it's going in there nice and straight, but I have a nice tight fit, so it should be nice and straight. And they were a little bit wonky, so just bend them a little bit. Try not to crush the brushes on it, but oh, what a statement piece this makes. So what a great use for leftover pieces of wood that you don't have another project for. Yes, a nice tree base. So now I have these two from the dollar spot. Oh my goodness. So these are actually going to be for myself. I'm going to keep them for myself, but since they're a little bit different of a tree, I'm going to show you what they look like on these random pieces of wood that we probably wouldn't have used on anything else. So now some of them don't come off as easily on the base. Now this one I was able to wiggle out. You just never know, and sometimes you have to wire cut them. Like this one I could not get out. So what I did, so I didn't hurt the brushes on that tree, is I just bent it off to the side. That way when I go to take my wire nips, that I can just make the cut. And now I'm always afraid that because I don't want to smash my bottle. So if you just bend it and then nip it, then you should be good to go. I did end up for these ones, because all the bases are not the same, the wire's not the same, I did end up having to switch over to a bigger drill bit. And then I actually ended up clipping a little bit of the metal off, the extra wire, only because I wanted, this is such a tall piece of wood, I wanted it to be more flush against it as a base. So just I nipped up a little bit more so I could get it where I wanted it to be. So the next project is going to be a dollar spot. These are little trucks. I believe they were $3 at the Target dollar spot. Oh my goodness, I must have took the tags off as soon as I brought them home. And then these are little calendars that the Dollar Tree had. I've had these since last year, trying to come up with an idea of what to do with them. But perfect idea now. So while Chris was cutting up those pieces of wood, he took some of the leftover pieces of wood and he made an insert for the back of that truck. I'm just going to take that same watered down antique and wax mixture, my hands are already a mess, and do these blocks. And of course, if you know me on my channel, when I'm reselling, I don't just buy one, I buy whatever I feel like I could sell. So I have 3 of these little trucks to put together. After that mixture dried, I'm just going to go ahead and do some hot glue. Yes, I got a lot of comments in a previous video about this glue gun. Yes, my husband is a tool guy, so when I needed a new glue gun for Christmas last year, what did I get? Yes, I got the massive Ryobi glue gun, and I absolutely love it. Now, at first, I thought, oh my gosh, this is just too much, too big, too hot, but I've learned over time to turn it on and off, and it gets to be once it's been heated up, I turn it off until it starts to cool down, then turn it back on, because it does run hot, but oh my gosh, it is a awesome glue gun. Now for my next, I'm just taking those Dollar Tree little numbers. I don't want to glue them in, because what if somebody wants to change the date on it? I got rid of the other little ones that said the month, and then I'm going to add another one of these I'm playing with these little bitty, look at wire things that are so small. They're so stinking cute. Oh my gosh. So there's these little trees that the Dollar Tree had also. So I'm trying to decide on what, like the placement. Can I put 2 trees on? I'd like 2 trees on, but there's just not enough room to have both of those on there. I finally made the executive decision the Dollar Tree little trees came in a 5-pack. So what I did was glue one of the smallest ones onto the back. That way I could kind of tilt that numbers and then sell 2 of the other trees with it. And then I still have 2 of these trucks that I did forever ago in a Dollar General flip. I painted them up, I distressed them, and I thought, you know what, before I put these in for the holiday season, yes, I could not pass up a brush bottle tree to save my life. If I saw them, I bought them. So I have an arrangement of 3 different ones. No, I'm not going to bling the truck up. I'm not going to make it so it says Christmas or anything like that. That way you can use it all year long. Now my next Dollar General makeover are these cute little toy soldier nutcracker, like, oh my gosh, I just absolutely, little things there again get me. So, but I'm not a fan of the pink and blue, and maybe some people decorate that, but that is not the colors that we choose. So I am definitely going to be giving these guys a new paint color. Now they look like they were supposed to be like name place holders, so just gonna go ahead and fill that in with a little bit of spackling and give them a new color. While that spackling is drying, I'm going to go ahead and remove that bottom tab. So now I'm going to go ahead and get some Rust-Oleum paint and primer in one in flat black and get these covered up. Now I'm going to go ahead and spray 2 of these white, and I know you're probably thinking, why didn't you just spray them white to begin with? But a lot of times that pink or that blue might have shown through, and I know if I undercoat it in black that the white takes really well. Now, a lot of times that white Rust-Oleum spray paint, I don't really necessarily like the white of it, but I like how it covered these guys. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of the Waverly Antiquing Wax and just take a little paintbrush in all the little crevices and then wipe it off with some clear wax by Varathane just to give it a little bit of an aged look. So it's not so I just sprayed it with a spray can kind of look. And I'm just going to go over with a little bit of antiquing wax over the black ones also. It's just going to richen up that black. For my next Dollar General, do you all remember these? These have been out all year since summer. So definitely all of a sudden I always pass them by, but then isn't it funny how you run across something and you're like, hey, that kind of looks like a chimney. Hey, that kind of looks like the top of Santa's goodie bag. Oh my goodness. So yes, I have an idea for these finally. We're going to be painting that gray over with some Crimson by Waverly chalk paint. Yep, we're going to definitely bring it right into the Christmas season. Now after 2 coats of the red paint, I'm just going to seal that red paint in with a little bit of Rust-Oleum in the clear coat. No distressing, just keeping it that nice red. So now you can see exactly what I'm going to be using that for. Yes, I'm going to put this Target $5 spot tree in it. Now, to me, these trees are a little bit of a hobby piece because I like my trees lots of full. So I'm just going to go ahead by starting off by taking off the bottom ribbon and the tags. The first thing I'm going to do with this little tree is I'm going to try to fluff it as much as I possibly can, just opening up those branches. This is that paper shreds, and I absolutely love that brown color, so that's what I'm going to be hiding this tree base with. To add some fullness and some dimension to this tree, I was able to run across Joann's Fabrics has a buy one get 2 free a lot on their stems. So now I'm just going to be cutting that stem apart and then adding it into this tree. And I know you think, oh, it's 2 different textures, but it's going to add dimension. It's going to add a visual to this tree. So when I go to glue on, I like to take the pieces and parts and I like to put them in, especially on a tree where the natural break is. And I'm going to cut this little stem all apart so that I can fit it in and hot glue these in. Now by cutting the stem apart, I'm able to use minimal of the stem to make my tree look nice and full. And yes, I try to take off any of that really fakey plastic. That way it doesn't look like I just added it in and it hides it. So especially if you're gluing it, hot gluing it in between where the branches are coming out, it just blends in so nice. And you can really see how much fullness this is adding to the tree. And yes, I pretty much add a extra stem to every little branch that there is on this tree to make it look nice and full. Now to draw your eye in just a little bit more on this tree, what we're going to do is, yes, I love mini pine cones. So anytime I see them when I'm thrifting, I think this bag is thrifted, but I know that Dollar General, Dollar Tree, a lot of the spots sell them. So yes, pick them up, because now we're going to add another visual interest to this little tree for minimal. So yes, same thing with these little pine cones. I take the pine cones and glue them in where that branch starts to come out of the main stem. For my next Dollar General, I was like $2. Yes, I know that I can take these up a notch. Just some simple, little bit of veneer wood on them, MDF board, but I know that I can up them a notch. In the Dollar General ornament section, they have these angel wings, and ever since doing that mirror effect window, I knew that I was going to figure out some project to use these angel wings on. I always want to get started on that craft, but the tags, and especially on this board, they don't just come off very easily, but if I use my heat gun and reactivate that sticky, I can usually pull it right off. So now we're going to get these all painted up with the Rust-Oleum and the flat black. Now I did end up painting both sides of this and then letting it dry. And now I'm going to go in with just my little mouse sander with some 80 grit sandpaper. And I'm actually going to distress these and try to get as much of the paint off, especially around each individual letter as I can. And now to add the angel wings. Oh my gosh, they are just absolutely beautiful. But I got to get this hanger removed. And nope, of course it didn't just pull out. You think for $1 it would have. This is my idea, just simple. I'm not going to do any. I love the color of the wings. I love that black and that distress. It all matches. So I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue to the back where I'm guesstimating that the wings are going to sit. And I want to make sure that the still is going to stand up. So I want to make sure that I don't have the wings too low. And then if I can see any of that hot glue from behind after getting the wings off, I can peel it off. It should just be fine. Put very small brads in this little nailer here, and I'm just going in. I don't want that hot glue. I don't want it to come apart, so just a couple little nails to make sure that it's good and adhered on there. So I absolutely love the simplicity of that lighter wood with this dark black. Oh my goodness. So I actually had these stars that I thrifted in a bag of wooden items. So perfect opportunity to get to use these. So I'm just going to be using a little bit of the antiquing wax and just kind of opposite of what the piece sanded, where it's lighter at the outside and then the black in the inside. I'm just going to take that antiquing wax around the edges of the star just to give it a little something. I like that contrast of that light and dark. I actually do that on both sides, and then I just take that same little, I was using a wet wipe actually so that it didn't go too dark, and I control it a little bit more, but you definitely want to make sure that you're doing both sides because you're going to be able to see both sides, and then just wiping it, blending it all together. And I'm going to be doing the same way of attaching it, a little bit of hot glue to hold it, making sure I have the visual of how I want it to be, and then doing a couple of those brads on there just to make sure that it's always going to be there. And then I ended up adding one more just behind the E. I just really loved that pop. Now for my ho ho ho, I actually picked up these. They were $3 for 3 of them, and I absolutely love the snowflakes in the hope that I could remove the wording that was on it. Just like a price tag, all I did was go in with my heat gun, heat up that a little bit, and then very gingerly work the wording off. And you could see a little bit left behind where the wording was, but I just made sure that my placement of my ho 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 was covering that up. So now for my next Dollar General, they had these baskets and they were considered part of their harvest line. So I actually had been picking these up anyway to resell them because people love these little mini tobacco baskets. Oh my goodness. So I actually ran across one store that had them 70% off. So I got these for 90 cents, but not all stores were doing that. And the Dollar General just had some awesome, beautiful ornaments this year. So I'm going to be adding a little bit of a scenery, a little bit of a signage to these two baskets. The stores themselves actually had something similar that they were actually reselling, but I'm just going to be taking mine up a notch. So first thing, of course, is to take this little fake greenery off and remove the tag. So now I'm going to be using these cute little brush bottle trees yet again. Oh my gosh. And then I thrifted this bag of little bitty grapevine wreaths for $1.50. I think we should call this "'Tis the Season" for hot glue guns. So this is my go-to for everything. So I got the grapevine wreath where I think I want it placed. And look at the base of these trees fit perfectly on this tobacco basket. So I got those three things glued in place. That way I knew where I needed to hot glue this, and I needed to know where it was going to be touching each and every one of these little parts of where to add the hot glue to. On the top of these, I did do a little bit of damage when I was removing the greenery, so I had to go back into my stash, and then I'm like, oh yes, hi Kelly, I'm using your couple of your stars to complete this look. I just cut off 3 stars and some extra wire, just twisting it around my finger. I want to make sure that that wire on both ends will wrap around the basket itself, and that I can kind of bend them as like a little corner piece, and then it'll be enough that I can stretch it and hide and glue over where I damaged that frame on that just a little bit. Continuing on with those beautiful ornaments, I have saw lots of decor on Instagram where people are decorating with bells. Now, and the funny story about these bells is I swear I bought 3, but when I got to do this project, I only had 2. But luckily I had picked up, because I only had ever found 3 at the Dollar Generals, I picked up a few more at Target. But to complete the look that I am going for, I need to figure out how to cover up the Target's wording. So now I have these leftover pieces of paper sack from another project that you'll see coming up. And maybe some of you already know what probably that project is. But yes, I'm just going to go ahead and do some decoupage or Mod Podging of these pieces of paper over the wording so that we don't see that wording. I just tried to make it as random as possible. I love that idea of what I did with that the bird. Oh, the bird on the branch. The video, if you guys did not see that one, oh my gosh, those IOD birds on that thrifted frame. Okay, so yes, that's where I had the idea of covering up the words from this. I tried to go all the way up to the handle and then cut up any of the excess on the bottom. And since I'm going to be doing these as a grouping, I need to do the same exact look on these even though they have no wording. I'm hoping that these are adding the texture that I'm looking for, so now I need to just set them off to the side and let them dry. Now they're dry, I'm going to give the whole, I'm not going to worry about the inside of them because the finished color will coordinate with that, but for right now I'm just going to paint them all black. And now after that was dry, I'm going in with some of this metallic bronzy gold spray paint. I actually picked it up at the Dollar General too, and seeing how it looks on these. And then unfortunately, I knew right off the bat, as soon as I added this gold, I did not like the texture. It definitely just looked like I glued pieces of paper onto these bells. So what I ended up doing is just letting that gold dry, and then I went and got some of my joint compound that I had done on those vases to add more of a even texture. Uneven texture, but it definitely would cover up what just looked like pieces of paper. Okay, now we're going to end up doing the same process again. I'm going to undercoat them in black to cover up that joint compound. And then after that dries, I'm going to go ahead back in with that gold, and hopefully I like that look. Yes, I definitely like that look. The look I was going for is that hammered. Remember back in the day when they had hammered metals? That's what the kind of texture I was seeing on a lot of the bells on Instagram. So that's what I was trying to achieve here. Sometimes it takes you a couple steps to achieve what look you're going for. So now I want to give these some age. So what I'm doing is I have some antiquing wax. I have some of my silver wax also, and that's going to tie in what I left silver. I wasn't going to deal with. This is just a decorative piece for myself, so I wasn't going to be trying to spray paint the inside of it. So what I'm doing is I'm just dabbing on some of the antiquing wax just to give it that aged look. You can see here how just the addition of the antiquing wax has already toned that brassiness down. And so now I'm just going in with just a little bit of dabbing, rubbing in spots of this. I love this technique of just adding to where all that texture is on this bell and just hitting those spots and just tying it all together. After getting these the way that I felt was pleasing to my eye, I am just going to go in with some clear coat and make sure that paint is good and on there, and then let these completely dry overnight before attaching them the way I want to put them in my decor. So part of Target's dollar spot were these cookie cutters, and what I wanted was that mini rolling pin for $3. Yes, please. Oh my gosh. I love rolling pins, and especially when they're mini like this. I only have one Target that I go to when I'm out thrifting, and that is one of my stops. Is I always check out to see what their dollar spot has left, and it's always minimal. Shelves are bare. So yes, they had these cute little cookie cutters with them. I will do something with those, but my main concern was these rolling pins. To take up these mini rolling pins a notch, I'm just going to be painting the handles using this Waverly Crimson chalk paint. Oh, I like this color. These handles did not roll, so I just had to work very gingerly, making sure that I wasn't touching that flat part, but oh, definitely worth my time. It took minimal. It just took a little bit of going slow around this edge. So these did not take much to dry because that is a really raw wood. So after getting all 4 of the rolling pins painted, I'm going in with some sandpaper, just some 220 sandpaper, and distressing and getting some of that natural wood to show through like they have been worn. And there's just something about painting them and leaving them painted or sanding that in. I personally like them sanded. That smooths out that paint. It doesn't look so chunky, and it looks like it's been worn over time. Now I used a chalk paint that needs to be sealed in, so I'm just using some of my Chippy Barn top coat just with a little sponge makeup applicator from the Dollar Tree store also, and just putting a nice coat over it. That'll just really set that paint in. And yes, I left these food safe just in case some little kid or somebody's helping grandma mom make cookies this season. That way they can use this little rolling pin if they want.
my goodness, what did you think? I definitely think I took these up a notch. They're definitely high end. They're definitely items that I will actually put some of them in my own decor when I get ready to decorate for Christmas myself. Yep, I don't decorate until December. How about you all? So yes, I just absolutely love it. Sometimes something so simple and just a box, bottle brush, brush bottle, whichever way everybody wants to say it, tree, oh my goodness, in a salvaged piece of wood, top notch. I'm sorry, I'm in love. I could do those all day long if I could find salvaged peaches and the bottle tree. So, oh my goodness, just absolutely love that look. And oh, those angel wings, I knew when I saw that ornament, I had to do something with those angel wings. And yeah, I absolutely love how that turned out. And yes, I did have some struggles with the bell, and I don't know where that third bell went. I know that I bought 3 when I was in the Dollar General, but it'll show up after. It's probably under the car seat or something. Who knows? But anyway, so I hope that you enjoyed today's content. I hope that I have inspired you to look at any of these Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Target Dollar Spot finds if you have them laying around, just to be able to take them up a notch and put them in your own decor and be very happy with how they turned out. Yep, I'm gonna sell some and I'm gonna put some in my own decor. Give me a quick comment of what your favorite item was that I made over, and if I've inspired you in any way to go out and look at Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and Target Dollar Spots for any of these items. Oh my gosh, they were so much fun. I think the fun of decorating your house is getting to craft it, to get into DIY it, and put it all together. And if you're new and checking out this content for the first time and you liked what you saw, please hit that subscription button along with the notification bell. And we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what I'm up to. Bye.